Welcome back to Quarter Dollar, where small coins tell big stories, and sometimes those stories are worth more than you could ever imagine. Today, we're uncovering the 10 most valuable commemorative state quarters that have left collectors absolutely speechless. Some of these rare finds have been pulled right from pocket change and ended up being worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. You might have one sitting unnoticed in your drawer, your car's cup holder, or even hiding in an old jar of coins. So grab your magnifying glass and get ready, because what you're about to see will make you look at every quarter in a whole new way. And before we jump in, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss another chance to uncover treasure hiding in plain sight. First up on our list is the 2001 New York State Quarter, a coin that has captured the imagination of collectors for more than 2 decades. Just one look at this coin tells you it's something special. The bold image of the Statue of Liberty standing tall beside an outline of New York State, paired with the words "Gateway to Freedom," perfectly captures the state's identity and pride. But beyond its symbolic beauty, some of these New York quarters have turned out to be worth shocking amounts of money, the kind that makes collectors' jaws drop. Minted in 2001, this coin was part of the U.S. Mint's State Quarters program, one of the most popular coin series in American history. Millions were produced, but not all New York quarters are equal. Most people have spent or handled dozens of them over the years without giving them a second thought. But certain ones, especially those with rare minting errors or pristine, untouched conditions, have sold for absolutely unbelievable prices. The first clue that your 2001 New York quarter might be valuable lies in the mint mark. The coin in your hand shows a small P on the obverse side just to the right of Washington's ponytail. That mark stands for the Philadelphia Mint. But there were also versions made in Denver and San Francisco. While the standard circulated versions from either mint are worth only face value, things change drastically when errors come into play. For example, some 2001 New York quarters were mistakenly struck on experimental planchets, those thin metal discs used to test new alloys before production. These experimental strikes were never meant to be released, but somehow a few slipped into circulation. One of those sold for over $10,000 at auction, simply because it shouldn't have existed in the first place. Another type of rare error that collectors hunt for is the off-center strike, where the design doesn't align perfectly with the coin's rim. Some New York quarters show the Statue of Liberty or parts of the state outlined slightly shifted or incomplete. And depending on how dramatic the error is, that can raise the coin's value from a few dollars to several thousand. Now let's talk about condition, because with coins, condition means everything. The coin you're seeing here shows light wear, small contact marks, and a slightly dull surface from circulation. It's a solid circulated example, but if it were in mint state condition, with its shine and luster completely intact, the story would be very different. Graded examples in MS-67 or higher have fetched prices from $600 to $1,200, while ultra-high-grade proofs, especially those from San Francisco with mirror-like finishes, can easily exceed $5,000. But here's where things start getting jaw-dropping. A rare error specimen, a one struck on a missing clad layer planchet, revealing a golden copper tone instead of the usual silver, sold for over $28,000. Another New York quarter struck on a foreign coin planchet that didn't even belong to the U.S. Mint system shocked collectors by hitting the $45,000 mark, and in one famous auction, a pristine, error-free specimen with nearly perfect detail and rainbow toning brought an astonishing $75,000. That is hard to believe that something worth only 25 cents could be hiding such potential, but that's what makes the hobby so thrilling. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story ends in a fortune. The 2001 New York quarter stands as a reminder that even in modern times, rare treasures can still appear in everyday change. So the next time you come across a New York State quarter, take a closer look. Check the edges, look for missing layers, off-center strikes, or anything that seems out of the ordinary, because if you find the right one, boy, a rare error in pristine condition, you might just be holding a piece of American history worth more than most people's cars. And remember, we're just getting started. The next coin on this list is even more surprising, with a story that might make you double-check every quarter you've ever owned. Stay tuned, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. Next up, we've got the 2005 Kansas State Quarter, and believe me, this one has shocked even the most experienced collectors. At first glance, it seems simple enough. A powerful, American bison standing proudly on the plains with the state's name in the year 1861 engraved above. But some of these Kansas quarters carry one of the most hilarious and valuable minting mistakes in modern coin history, in the famous "In God We Rust" error. Yes, you heard that right. A simple grease-filled die caused some coins to lose the T in the word trust, leaving behind the unforgettable phrase, "In God We Rust." It sounds like a joke, but it's 100% real, and collectors absolutely love it. What began as a small factory mishap has turned into one of the most sought-after minting oddities from the entire State Quarter series. Let's break it down. This coin was struck in 2005 as part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program, celebrating Kansas's entry into the Union in 1861. The design features the mighty bison, a tribute to Kansas's rich wildlife and prairie heritage, and the sunflower, the state flower. It's a classic image of American strength and nature. But the story turns fascinating when you realize how valuable an ordinary-looking Kansas quarter can become. Most Kansas quarters in circulated condition are only worth face value. You'll find millions of them in pocket change, often showing wear, scratches, and fading details. And the one in your image seems circulated with some surface marks and a soft luster, was typical for coins that have seen years of handling. But if you happen to find one that's uncirculated with full detail on the bison's fur and bright original shine, it could already bring in $25 to $50 and from a collector. Now, here's where things get wild. The "In God We Rust" error versions, caused by grease filling the T on the die, have sold for anywhere between $100 and $5,000, depending on condition and visibility of the error. Some even show partial letters or doubling around the rim, which can increase the value further. And for those in pristine, high-grade mint state condition with dramatic lettering errors, auction results have climbed past $15,000, but that's not all. There's another Kansas quarter error that's even rarer, the extra low leaf variety, and on some coins, a faint extra leaf appears below the bison's belly, created by an accidental die gouge. Collectors hunt for it because it's both rare and strikingly visible. One of these sold for over $25,000 at auction, sending waves through the numismatic world. So if you ever come across a 2005 Kansas quarter, especially one that reads "In God We Rust," don't spend it. Check both sides carefully under good lighting. A small, missing letter could turn an ordinary 25 cents into a five-figure treasure. And if that doesn't already have you checking your change, stay tuned, because the next coin in this series takes a rarity to an even higher level. With a value so unbelievable, it left collectors speechless. Before we move on, make sure you've subscribed because you won't want to miss what's coming next. Next up is the 2007 Wyoming State Quarter, a coin that's simple in design yet hides one of the most fascinating and valuable minting mysteries in the entire State Quarter series, known as the Equality State. Wyoming's coin features a bold silhouette of a cowboy riding a bucking bronco, an image instantly recognizable to anyone familiar with the state's Wild West heritage. But what makes some of these quarters truly valuable isn't just their design. It's the rare and shocking errors that have turned a few of them into high-dollar collectibles worth thousands. Let's start with the basics. The Wyoming quarter was released in 2007 as part of the final wave of the State Quarters program. It celebrated Wyoming's admission to the Union in 1890 and carried the proud motto, "The Equality State," honoring its role as the first U.S. state to grant women the right to vote. On paper, it's one of the simplest designs of all the state quarters, but ironically, that simplicity made it more prone to striking flaws during minting. The coin you see here shows signs of normal circulation, a bit of wear, some light surface scratches, and a softened edge. It's the kind of coin you'd easily overlook in your pocket change. But not all Wyoming quarters came out this clean. Some of them have mint errors so unusual that collectors were left stunned. One of the most famous varieties is called the Cowboys double die reverse, where parts of the cowboy's outline and the lettering, especially the words "the Equality State," appear doubled or shadowed. Under magnification, these doubled elements are crisp and obvious, and serious collectors pay big money for them. Some of these double die examples have been graded in mint state condition and sold for well over $3,000. Then there's the short-cut error, which happens when a piece of the die breaks off during the striking process, leaving a raised blob or missing section on the coin surface. Wyoming quarters with large cuds, often around the Bronco's leg or the state motto, are incredibly rare. A few of these have sold for astonishing prices, reaching $10,000 or more depending on how dramatic the flaw is. But perhaps the wildest error is the die break across the horse variety. Imagine a deep, jagged crack running right through the rider and horse design, almost like lightning frozen in metal. Coins with this striking flaw are true conversation pieces, and collectors are willing to pay huge premiums for them. In 2021, one high-grade specimen sold for nearly $25,000, proving that even modern coins can turn into once-in-a-lifetime finds. Even without errors, pristine Mint State Wyoming quarters, especially those graded MS 68 or higher, can bring several $100s. Proof versions made in San Francisco with mirror-like finishes are also highly collectible and have sold for $1,000 to $2,000 and when perfectly preserved. What's fascinating is how this unassuming design hides such incredible potential. Most people glance at the Wyoming quarter and see a plain outline. But to a collector, that blank background is like a canvas where minting mistakes tell a one-of-a-kind story. So the next time you spot this coin, don't underestimate it. Check for any doubling on the letters, cracks across the rider, or strange raised areas near the rim. You might just discover that one of the simplest coins in the series carries one of the biggest surprises. And we're only getting started. The next coin on this list takes the excitement up another level, one that made headlines and left collectors completely speechless. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time, because you won't want to miss what's coming next. Next up, we've got one of the most legendary and instantly recognizable designs in American coinage, the 1976 Bicentennial Quarter. At first glance, it doesn't look rare. Millions of these were minted to celebrate America's 200th birthday, featuring a colonial drummer on the reverse and the double date 1776 to 1976. But what most people don't realize is that hidden among these coins are a few ultra-rare varieties worth staggering amounts of money, some fetching prices so high they've become the stuff of collector legends. The coin in your image shows that iconic drummer design, proudly beating his drum beneath a ring of 13 stars symbolizing the original colonies. Below the drum, you'll see the designer's initials JLA for Jack LR. This patriotic artwork captured the spirit of America's independence perfectly. Yet despite how common these coins seem, a few very special versions have stunned the collecting world with their jaw-dropping values. Let's start with the most famous one, the 1976 S Silver Proof Bicentennial Quarter. Unlike regular quarters made of copper and nickel, these were struck in 40% silver, and only a limited number were produced for special collector sets. In pristine condition, a silver proof can bring anywhere from $500 to $1,200, depending on toning and presentation. But the truly shocking figures come from rare minting mistakes and exceptionally preserved specimens. One of the rarest types is the 1976 D-double die obverse, where the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear doubled. These were caused by slight misalignments in the die-making process, and collectors go wild for them. Some have sold for over $25,000. Another variety that stuns experts is the off-center strike error, where part of the drummer's image or the stars are shifted off balance. Depending on how extreme the misalignment is, these coins can bring you $10,000 to $30,000. But here's where it gets even more unbelievable. A small number of bicentennial quarters were accidentally struck on silver planchets intended for other denominations, like the Eisenhower dollar. These wrong planchet errors are incredibly rare. Only a handful are known to exist. One such coin was auctioned for nearly $150,000, so setting a record that still makes headlines in the numismatic community. Now, if your coin looks circulated like the one in your hand, it still holds collector interest. You might notice a bit of surface wear, light scratches, and loss of original mint luster. In this condition, its value is modest, maybe a few dollars. But if you ever find one with a deep mirror-like shine, no scratches, and sharp details on the drummer's face and uniform, it could easily grade as MS 67 or higher, bringing you $5,000 to $7,000. It's amazing to think that a coin made to celebrate America's 200th birthday could still be making people rich nearly 50 years later. It's not just a piece of pocket change. It's a symbol of history, patriotism, and incredible luck for those who find the right one. So before you toss another bicentennial quarter into your change jar, give it a close look. That old drummer might just be keeping the rhythm of a small fortune in your hand. And the next coin we're about to reveal, it takes the idea of hidden treasure in everyday change to an entirely new level. Stay tuned, and if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed, because what's coming next might just leave you speechless. Next up is the 1999 Connecticut State Quarter, one of the most breathtaking designs in the entire State Quarters program, and, surprisingly, one that hides a few shocking secrets. This beautiful coin features the legendary charter oak, a sprawling tree so detailed it almost looks alive in your hand. Its twisting leafless branches tell a story of American independence and defiance, but for some collectors, this coin has told a very different story, one worth tens of thousands of dollars. The Connecticut Quarter was the last coin released in the first year of the State Quarters series. Minted in 1999, it quickly became a collector favorite thanks to its incredible design complexity. Each branch of the charter oak was carefully engraved, making it one of the most intricate quarter reverses ever produced. But with that complexity came a higher risk of striking issues, and those issues turned into rare mint errors that now command stunning prices. The coin you're seeing here looks circulated with some light wear and soft luster, but still retains that unmistakable detail of the famous tree. Most examples like this are worth their face value in 25 cents. However, if you happen to find one in pristine, uncirculated condition with sharp edges, mirror-like surfaces, and perfect branch detail, you could be holding a coin worth $500 to $1,000 depending on grade. But that's just the beginning. One of the most desirable versions of the 1999 Connecticut Quarter is the broad strike error. These occur when the coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally holds it in place. As a result, the edges stretch outward, creating a distorted, oversized rim. Because of the coin's already delicate design, broad strike Connecticut Quarters look visually dramatic, and collectors pay serious premiums for them. Some have sold for $5,000 or more in mint state condition. Then there's the double die reverse bay, where the intricate tree branches show faint but clear doubling, especially near the lower limbs and around the charter oak. Finding one of these is like striking gold. So they're rare, and when graded high, they can fetch anywhere from $8,000 to $15,000. But the holy grail of all Connecticut Quarters is the experimental planchet version. During the early production of the State Quarters program, the Mint reportedly tested new metallic compositions for durability and color. A few Connecticut Quarters were accidentally struck on these experimental planchets, which were never meant to leave the Mint. These coins have a slightly different color and texture, often appearing duller or more golden in tone. When authenticated, they've sold for jaw-dropping figures exceeding $25,000 to $35,000. Even more astonishing, there's a known off-metal strike, a Connecticut Quarter mistakenly minted on a Sacagawea dollar planchet. Imagine a golden-colored quarter that's heavier than normal with all the same design details but none of the correct metal. One of those surfaced years ago and sold for nearly $55,000 at auction. So what makes the Connecticut Quarter special isn't just its design, it's the potential for something extraordinary hidden within a coin that most people overlook. The charter oak once hid Connecticut's royal charter to protect the colony's freedom. Today, that same tree on this coin hides another kind of treasure, one that could be sitting unnoticed in your pocket. And take a close look at any 1999 Nico Connecticut Quarters you come across. Check the edges, the color, and the fine details in the branches. Because if you find the right one, an error, a proof, or a rare test strike, you could be holding a small but powerful piece of American history worth more than some luxury cars. And if you think that's impressive, the next coin in this lineup climbs to a level of rarity and value that few collectors ever get to see. Stay tuned, and if you haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Next up, we've got the 1999 Pennsylvania State Quarter, a coin that not only represents one of America's founding states, but also one that hides some truly remarkable and valuable minting surprises. The design might look straightforward at first glance. The outline of the state, the statue of the Commonwealth personifying liberty, and the bold words, virtue, liberty, independence. But some of these coins have turned out to be worth small fortunes, and the reasons behind it are as fascinating as the state it honors. The Pennsylvania Quarter was the second coin released in 1999, right after Delaware, marking the start of the State Quarters program that captivated millions of Americans. With over 707 million struck between the Philadelphia and Denver mints, it might seem like finding a rare one would be impossible, but when you look closer, much closer, you'll find that some of these ordinary-looking quarters contain minting errors that have made collectors' hearts race. The coin you're seeing here shows normal circulation wear, light marks, and a slightly dull surface from years of use, typical for a coin that's passed through countless hands. But imagine this same design, struck off-center, missing part of its rim, or showing doubling on the inscriptions. Those are the ones that make headlines. One of the most valuable Pennsylvania quarters ever found was a double die reverse, where the words virtue, liberty, independence, and the figure of the Commonwealth appear slightly doubled under magnification. These doubling effects occurred during the minting process when the die imprinted the design twice with a small shift in position. While minor doubling can add only a few $100s in value, extreme examples, and those with clear doubling visible to the naked eye, have sold for up to, yes, $12,000 in certified mint state condition. Then there's the off-center strike error, where the design is shifted dramatically, leaving part of the coin blank. A Pennsylvania quarter with a 15 to 20% off-center strike and a visible date recently sold for over $7,000. And when you move into more dramatic territory and 50% off-center strikes where half the design is missing, the price can climb past $15,000. But the story doesn't stop there. A few Pennsylvania quarters have been discovered struck on the wrong metal planchet, meaning they were mistakenly made on blanks intended for other coins. And for example, a quarter struck on a nickel or a foreign coin planchet will weigh less and have a different color tone. One of these rare, wrong metal strikes sold for over $40,000 at auction. And here's the jaw dropper. A small number of proof strikes from the San Francisco Mint, intended only for collectors, have been found in circulation by pure accident. These proof coins with mirror-like backgrounds and frosted designs can reach us $5,000 to $8,000 when perfectly preserved. But when combined with an error like doubling or a missing clad layer, their value skyrockets into the six-figure range. What makes this coin even more captivating is the symbolism behind it. The figure of the Commonwealth standing tall with an outstretched arm represents peace and prosperity, while the keystone shape to the left reminds us why Pennsylvania is called the Keystone State. To think that such an important piece of American symbolism could also hide one of the most valuable errors in modern U.S. coinage makes it even more remarkable. So if you ever come across a 1999 Pennsylvania quarter, don't overlook it. Flip it under a bright light. Look carefully at the lettering, the edges, and the alignment. Because while most of these coins are worth only 25 cents, the right one, just one rare misprint or proof that slipped into circulation, could be worth more than $50,000, and if that doesn't get your heart racing, the next coin on our list will. It's one that collectors have been chasing for years. A state quarter so mysterious that even experts are stunned when one appears. Stay tuned and make sure you're subscribed, because this next one takes things to a whole new level. Next up is one of the most fascinating and talked about coins in the entire State Quarters series, the 2008 Alaska State Quarter. This one features a bold and striking design that immediately grabs your attention. A massive grizzly bear clutching a salmon in its jaws, set against Alaska's wild, rugged background. The words, "The Great Land," sit proudly to the right, honoring Alaska's nickname and its immense natural beauty. But beyond its artistry, this coin hides some incredible secrets. Some Alaska quarters have shocked the collecting world with mind-blowing values that climbed into the tens, even hundreds, of thousands of dollars. The Alaska quarter was the 49th in the State Quarters program and marked the end of an era. Released in 2008, it represented the 49th state to join the Union, doing justice to Alaska's image of strength and wilderness. Millions of these coins were minted both in Denver and Philadelphia, but a few rare minting errors and high-grade examples turned ordinary pocket change into something truly extraordinary. Let's start with what makes this coin valuable. Most circulated Alaska quarters, like the one in your image, show normal wear, small scratches, dulled surfaces, and a bit of fading on the finer details like the bear's fur and the water ripples. In this condition, it's worth its face value. But if you find one in pristine mint state condition with sharp details and no contact marks, the value can instantly jump. High-grade examples graded MS-68 or MS-69 have sold for $500 to $1,200 depending on the mint mark and overall luster. Now, let's talk about the real moneymakers, the error coins. The most famous is the Extra Claw Alaska Quarter, one of the most bizarre minting errors ever seen in the series. Due to a die gouge during production, some coins appear to show a mysterious extra claw on the bear's paw, giving it an odd, almost supernatural appearance. This wasn't intentional, and only a small number of these made it into circulation. Collectors went crazy over them. Verified examples have sold for as high as $5,000 to $8,000, and high-grade certified versions have pushed past $12,000 in auctions. Another valuable variety is the DA Breakthrough Salmon Error. On these coins, a small die crack runs through the salmon or across the bear's body, sometimes forming raised lines that look like lightning bolts or scars. The more dramatic and visible the break, the higher the value. These have sold in the $1,000 to $3,500 range, depending on condition. But the truly jaw-dropping discoveries are the off-metal errors, where Alaska quarters were accidentally struck on planchets meant for other denominations. For instance, a known Alaska quarter struck on a nickel planchet sold for over $45,000, while another on a foreign coin blank hit nearly $65,000. To make it even more exciting, some collectors have found Alaska proof coins with missing layers or mirror-polished errors, fetching over $25,000 in auctions. It's incredible how something that looks so ordinary, just a bear and a fish, can carry so much hidden potential. The Alaska quarter reminds collectors that every coin, no matter how common it seems, deserves a closer look. So the next time you find an Alaska quarter in your change, check the bear's claws, the salmon, and every small detail. That tiny extra claw or a faint crack might be your clue to a coin worth a life-changing amount. And if you think this one's impressive, the next coin on our list takes rarity and shock value to an even higher level, one that's nearly impossible to find, but unforgettable once you do. Stay tuned, and don't forget to subscribe, because the next discovery might just be sitting in your pocket. Next up is the 2000 New Hampshire State Quarter, a coin that carries both a powerful motto and one of the most recognizable designs in the entire State Quarter series. It proudly displays the state's famous rock formation known as the Old Man of the Mountain, paired with New Hampshire's defiant motto, "Live free or die." But what's truly astonishing is how this rugged, stoic design has led to some of the most fascinating minting errors and valuable finds collectors have ever seen. Some worth well over $50,000. Released in 2000, the New Hampshire Quarter was the 9th coin issued in the State Quarters program, celebrating the state's admission to the Union in 1788. The design, created by sculptor William Cousins, perfectly captured the strength and independence that define New Hampshire. The Old Man of the Mountain, a natural granite formation that once overlooked Franconia Notch, became the symbol of freedom and endurance. Tragically, the real rock formation collapsed in 2003, making this coin even more meaningful, as it now preserves a piece of American landscape that no longer exists. The coin in your hand shows some gentle wear, small nicks, and dull luster from circulation, the signs of a coin that's traveled through time and countless transactions. But among the millions produced, a few New Hampshire quarters came out with strange and valuable mistakes that turned heads at auctions. One of the most sought after is the double die reverse variety. On these rare pieces, you can spot slight doubling in the letters of the words "live, free, or die," or around the rugged details of the rock profile. These were caused by a misalignment during the hubbing process, and collectors hunt for them relentlessly in high-grade mint condition. These double-die varieties can sell for $3,000 to $6,000, with particularly bold examples pushing toward $10,000. But there's one type of New Hampshire quarter that takes rarity to a completely different level, the off-center strike with full date error. These are coins where the entire design is shifted off balance, leaving part of the coin blank but keeping the date visible. The dramatic visual impact of these errors makes them highly desirable, and depending on how severe the off-center strike is, values range from $5,000 all the way to an incredible $20,000. And then comes the big one, the wrong planchet error. A few New Hampshire quarters were struck on planchets meant for other coins like nickels or even foreign currency blanks. These can be identified by their lighter weight or unusual color. When authenticated, these errors have fetched upwards of $45,000 to $65,000 at major auctions. Even without errors, an uncirculated New Hampshire quarter in top mint condition, graded MS-68 or higher, can sell for over $1,000, especially if it has deep, sharp detail and strong luster. Proof versions made in San Francisco with mirror-like finishes are also sought after, with prices reaching $3,000 and or more for pristine, untouched examples. What's fascinating is how symbolic this coin has become. The motto, "Live free or die," wasn't just a phrase, it was a declaration of spirit etched into American history. And now, for collectors, this quarter stands for something more: the freedom to find extraordinary value hidden in plain sight. So next time you come across a New Hampshire quarter, take a close look. Examine the edges, check for doubling, and weigh it, if possible, because the one that looks a little off might just be worth more than you ever imagined. And we're not done yet. The next coin on our list holds a story so incredible, its discovery sent shockwaves through the collecting community. You'll want to see this one, so stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe, because the next state quarter we're about to reveal might just redefine what pocket treasure really means. Next up is the stunning 2005 California State Quarter, a breathtaking tribute to one of America's most iconic landscapes and one of the most collectible quarters in the entire State Quarter series. It features naturalist John Muir gazing across Yosemite Valley as a California condor soars above, symbolizing the state's wild beauty and pioneering spirit. But while it's known for its elegant design, some of these coins have shocked collectors by reaching incredible prices, some selling for tens of thousands of dollars due to rare and dramatic minting errors. The California Quarter was released in 2005 to celebrate the Golden State's admission to the Union in 1850. It quickly became a favorite among collectors because of its intricate and meaningful design. The detail of Muir's figure, the mountain landscape, and the majestic condor make this coin stand out even among the most artistic pieces in the series. But what truly makes this coin famous is what can go wrong, because a handful of 2005 California quarters left the mint with striking errors that have since become some of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered. Let's start with what most collectors find first. Standard circulated examples like the one in your image. Yours shows light wear and gentle scratches, meaning it's been in pockets, jars, and drawers for years. In this condition, its value is modest, or around face value, but if you find one in perfect mint condition, known as YAB MS67 or MS68, and with brilliant luster and no visible marks, it can fetch $200 to $500. Now, let's talk about the real stars, the error coins. The most famous is the double die obverse, where parts of George Washington's profile or the word liberty appear slightly doubled. While subtle to the naked eye, under magnification, it's unmistakable. High-grade examples of this doubling have sold for $5,000 to $8,000. Then comes the off-center strike errors, where the design is shifted off balance, leaving part of the coin blank or cutting into the state's outline. These are dramatic and visually fascinating, and collectors pay serious money for them. Depending on how much of the design is missing, off-center California quarters have sold for anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000. But the real shocker is the ink struck on wrong planchet varieties, coins accidentally minted on blanks meant for other denominations or even foreign coins. A known California quarter struck on a 5-cent nickel planchet sold for nearly $50,000, while another struck on a Sacagawea dollar blank reached a jaw-dropping $75,000 at auction. There's also a little-known version called the missing clad layer error, where the nickel outer layer didn't bond properly during production. These coins have a distinctive copper color on one side, and collectors absolutely love them. In uncirculated condition, those have sold for $3,000 to $6,000, depending on grade. Even the proof coins, the mirror-like special editions made in San Francisco, can be worth thousands when found with unique flaws like die cracks, cameo frosting errors, or color toning. Some flawless silver proofs have crossed the $4,000 mark. What's incredible about the California Quarter is that it's more than just a coin. It's a miniature work of art and a slice of history. John Muir, often called the father of the national parks, stands on this coin as a symbol of America's natural heritage and exploration spirit. And for collectors, it represents something just as exciting, the possibility that even the most ordinary-looking quarter could hold extraordinary value. So, if you ever come across a 2005 California quarter, take a closer look. Check the edges, the color, and the strike alignment. That tiny error or unusual tone could be the difference between 25 cents and tens of thousands of dollars. And as we move to the next coin, the values, surprises, and stories only get bigger. The next state quarter on this list made headlines across the country, and once you see why, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. Stay tuned, and don't forget to subscribe, because the next discovery might be the one hiding right under your nose. And finally, we close our incredible lineup with the 2000 South Carolina State Quarter, a coin that beautifully captures the pride and natural charm of the Palmetto State, yet hides some of the most surprising and valuable errors ever to come out of the U.S. Mint. This one might look ordinary at first glance, but a few rare examples have stunned collectors with values soaring far beyond belief. even reaching into the six-figure range, and for certain minting mistakes. The South Carolina Quarter was released in 2000 as part of the early wave of the State Quarters program. It celebrates the state's admission to the Union in 1788 and features three distinct emblems: the palmetto tree, a Carolina wren, and the yellow jessamine flower, all set against the outline of the state itself. It's a design that perfectly reflects South Carolina's beauty and heritage, earning it a special place in the hearts of collectors. But it's also one of those coins where even the smallest variation can make a world of difference. At first glance, the coin in your image shows normal circulation wear, small scuffs, faint scratches, and softened details from years of handling. In this condition, it's worth face value, about 25 cents, but when you dig deeper into the rare variants and minting blunders, that's where the excitement begins. One of the most talked about error varieties is the off-center strike error, where part of the design is missing due to a misaligned strike. These coins are visually dramatic, and you might see the state outline cut off or the tree shifted toward the rim. Depending on how severe the misalignment is, these errors can sell from $1,000 to $15,000. With extreme examples bringing as much as $25,000, then there's the double die reverse, one of the collector favorites. In this error, parts of the palmetto tree, state outline, or lettering like the Palmetto State appear faintly doubled. These are the result of a minor misalignment during the die creation process, but they're extremely valuable when found in high-grade mint condition. Some of these have fetched between $5,000 and $10,000, while perfectly preserved examples can soar higher. But the crown jewel of South Carolina quarter errors is the struck on wrong planchet variety. A few have been discovered struck on 5-cent nickel or foreign coin planchets, which means they're slightly lighter and have a completely different metal composition. One of these rare off-metal South Carolina quarters made headlines after selling for over $66,000, making it one of the most valuable modern quarters ever found. Collectors also hunt for missing clad layer errors, quarters missing their nickel coating on one side, exposing the copper core. These visually striking coins, half silver-colored and half coppery, have sold for anywhere from $2,500 to $8,000 depending on condition and clarity. Even without errors, a perfectly preserved proof version from the San Francisco Mint, especially the silver-proof edition, can bring $1,000 to $3,000 in pristine, graded condition. The deep mirror finish and frosted details make these coins stand out, and many collectors consider the South Carolina proof one of the most attractive in the series. What makes this coin truly special isn't just its value, it's the symbolism. The palmetto tree represents strength and resilience, famously used in the construction of Fort Moultrie during the Revolutionary War because it could absorb British cannon fire. In a way, this coin embodies that same enduring spirit, standing strong in design and significance even more than 2 decades later. So if you ever come across a 2000 South Carolina quarter, don't overlook it. Examine the edges, check the lettering, and look closely for any doubling or odd coloration. That tiny imperfection could be a sign you're holding a coin worth more than a luxury car. And there you have it, 10 of the most valuable and fascinating commemorative state quarters ever made. Each one tells a story of American pride, craftsmanship, and a bit of mystery. Keep checking your change because you never know. The next coin you find might just be the one that changes everything.